I'm going to record. Very good. So now here in the presentation, we're going to talk about how to teach listening in children, right? So if you have any questions, I'm going to look in the chat. Everything that you ask me, you can write there any question, any doubt, something that you are not understanding, and I will answer your questions, okay? So in the reading, right, I don't know if you have read the chapter, I hope yes. We have some activities. For example, if we are going to teach listening for information, it means that you are going to teach children how they are going to listen to something. It could be a song, maybe a dialogue, or a movie chapter, but it means that the objective is for an information. It's specific, right? So maybe after listening something, they are going to identify some words. Maybe they are going to put words in order, right? Also, they can listen to a color, right? Um, or they can listen for the mistake and they can be aware of that. Also could be questionnaires or feeling missing information. So that depends about the objective that you are going to teach, right? And I'm going to explain you how to make a lesson plan according to this, that this skill is listening. Okay. So first of all, I don't know if you remember, but in listening we have some stages, right? So we have PDP. I don't know if you remember. I know that is a nightmare sometimes, but we're going to use this framework in order to teach listening. So first of all, we're going to talk about the pre-listening. So basically, what is pre-listening? What is the objective to teach something before listening? Why, teacher? Well, it's an important stage. Why? Because basically you are preparing your students to listen, right? I don't know, maybe try to remember the time when you were learning English. So if the teacher put an audio just like that, how would you feel? Right? You will feel like scared or frustrated because maybe you don't recognize some words in the listening. Maybe the audio is very fast and you don't understand. And after that, maybe the teacher asked you some questions and maybe you were, what? I mean, I didn't even listen the audio. I was very nervous, right? So basically the pre-listening is that you're going to prepare your students. And how can you prepare them? So maybe you can ask these questions for yourself. What is the situation? It means what is the context that you are going to connect with your listening? How many people are speaking? Because you know that in the listening audio, there are many people listening speaking at the same time. So you need to be very aware of what kind of people are speaking, if the accent is American or British, right? Another question is what different accents, as I said, what different accents do you hear? Because maybe you can have different accents and it is not the same pronunciation. So you need to be very aware of that. What is the topic about, right? What are you going to teach your students? What is the context that you're going to connect? Do you notice any language that students might find challenging? Slangs, for example, or maybe there are some difficult vocabulary that you need to teach before putting the audio, right? So these kind of questions are going to help you as a teacher in order to reflect why are you putting that listening, and if that listening is connected with the topic that you're going to teach, and if that listening audio is related to the level of the students. So in other words, if your students are beginners, you're not going to put an advanced audio, right? You're not going to put a difficult song or a difficult conversation. Why? Because then your objective is it will not be achieved, right? So you need to be very aware of that. Okay. So another thing in the pre-listening, basically you are going to present the information, right? Maybe you're going to brainstorm with your students. Maybe you can play just a second or 30 seconds from the audio, and then you're going to ask them like, oh, so what is the listening about? Or what do you think the topic is going to be about, right? Brainstorming. Why? Because you need to activate the students' knowledge. Maybe they know something about the listening, right? And also it's because you are going to introduce the topic, right? Another thing in the pre-listening is that you're going to connect the background knowledge. I don't know if you remember the background knowledge. What is it about? Well, the background knowledge is something that they already know, right? And it's very important to ask the students if they know something. Genesis, can you hear me? No? Okay, can you listen me? Can you listen to me? Yes? Can you please write in the chat? Can you listen? Yes? Okay, so if you have an issue with the technology, please tell me. Okay, don't worry. If the connection goes, don't worry. I'm going to upload the video. So if you can't listen to me, please tell me so I can do another thing. Okay? Yes. Okay. Let's continue. I'm going to unmute your micro so we can't listen to the background noise. Okay? Very good. Okay, so let's continue. So in the pre-listening, basically, you're going to connect the background knowledge, something that your students already know. You need to ask them. Also, introduce vocabulary about the listening, right? So, for example, if you are going to teach a song, try to read the lyrics of the song and say, you know what, this word is going to be difficult for the students, so I need to teach that word. Okay, so they are prepared for the song. So they are prepared and they can identify later that word, right? And give them some context. So for example, if the song is about fruits and vegetables, all right, so include that context in the listening, right? Like, do you remember when you go to HEB? What is in HEB? What do you see? Well, and then you start brainstorming, right? Give them context, not just like, we're going to listen to a song. That's it. No, maybe prepare a story, bring puppets, muppets, everything that is very interesting for them. So in the pre-listening, here in the blue chart, we're going to see an example about a teacher that is preparing a lesson. So basically, this teacher in the pre-listening it says, students brainstorm kinds of songs, and then students describe one of their favorite songs and what they like about it. After that, the students predict some word or expressions that might be in a love song, right? So basically, that teacher is doing that in the pre-listening. First, students brainstorm, then students describe what are their favorite songs, and then students predict words that might be in a love song. As you can see, the teacher is preparing the students, right, about listening maybe to a love song, okay? So basically, that the objective of the pre-listening is preparing, always. And then we have the during listening. So we already prepare our students for the listening, and in the during, what is happening? Well, students listen and do a task. You can play the audio 2 or 3 times, but each time that you are playing the audio is because students are going to do something, right? They're having an activity in each time. They can listen for a general information. They can listen for main ideas. They can make inferences or summarizing, right? That depends on you and what activity you are putting. listening. So it's very important to assign a task so that can help students focus and develop important strategies for language learning, right? So for example, if you play the audio like 3 times and you don't have an activity in each time that you're playing the audio, well, your students will be like, and why am I listening to this song like 2 or 3 times? Like it doesn't make any sense. So for example, the first time that you play the audio is because they are going to think about what the listening is about. And then the second time, maybe they need to listen for general information. What is the listening talking about? And the third time is because maybe they are going to identify some words. So as you can see, the during goes from general to specific, right? So for example, here the teacher put some activities. In the first listening, students listen and decide if the song is happy or sad. That is the first listening. And then the second listening, students listen again and order the lines or verses of the song, right? And in the third listening, students listen again to answer a true or false activity. So what can you see in these activities that the teacher is applying? Well, it's because here the first one is very general. And then the second one, it goes specific. And in the third one, it's very specific because they are going to answer true or false. So basically goes from general to specific or from easy to difficult, as you can see. So each time they have a different task and it goes very difficult, right? Very specific also. So let's remember that in listening, they are going to demonstrate that they understood, right? So basically, when you're using PDP, it's because you are going to apply those activities because students need to tell you or they need to show you that they understood the listening. It could be the song, the conversation, anything, but they need to demonstrate you with these activities. So for example, if Pablito, he participates in the 3 activities, but you can see that in the third activity that is a true or false, Pablito had 100, for example, or had everything correct. It means that Pablito understood. But then we have Maria, that Maria maybe didn't listen well or maybe didn't do the activity, the true or false activity. Well, it means that Maria didn't listen to the song or the activity and also that didn't understood, right? Because you can see that if your students don't answer those correctly, it means that they have questions, right? And the objective is not achieved. So basically Maria didn't achieve the objective, but Pablito did. And then we have the post listening. So basically in the post listening is where you take them beyond, right? It's something different, right? In the post listening, you can do another thing with that listening activity that you applied before, right? So we have different topics. For example, if you are going to focus on content, the students can discuss what they like or didn't like about the song. Maybe they can decide if they will buy it, right? Or they can write a review of the song for a newspaper or website, or they can write another verse for the song, right? Or students can look at the lyrics from the song and identify the verb forms, or students find new words in the song and find out what they mean, or students make notes of common collocations with the song. So as you can see, the post listening is very separated, right? It's another activity. Maybe they can make a poster or they can make their own song, right? So it's very different. This is a free activity for students, right? Because why? Because in the during is the most important stage. In the during, they are demonstrating that they understood. And in the post, it's very free, right? It's apart from the listening. So here, this chart, I made it for you so you can have an idea. So as you can see in the presentation that I told you, here you present the information, you prepare your students for the listening. In the practice, students practice with activities. They need to be very connected with each other. They go from easy to challenging. Here in the practice, you also monitor your students. You give them feedback whenever they have some mistakes or they don't understand. Here we apply the BAKT activities, right? And the activities, it could be from 2 or 3, but for me it's better that we have 3 activities in the during. So practice is during, sorry. And in the production, we have the final activity. So as you can see, the final activity is a free activity. Here, students use English in a real context. It is a fluency, and it's very independent, right? Students here, they are very independent, but remember, when we are teaching listening, the most important stage is the practice, right? Very good. Okay, so let's talk about our favorite topic, that is Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so for this lesson plan that you are going to do, here we have the format in order to write an objective. This objective is very different, right? It's different from another skill, right? Because look, students will be able to show understanding of, and I'm going to tell you an example, of listening to a song, Stand By Me, while ordering the sequence of the song according to the pictures, so that they can discuss with their partners their favorite singers and favorite songs. So let's analyze this objective. Students will be able to show understanding of listening to a song, Stand By Me. So this is the context of the topic that they are going to listen, right? While ordering the sequence of the song according to the pictures. So this is the third activity. So as you can see, this activity is the final in the during. So it's the one that they are going to show me that they understood the song, so that they can discuss with their partners their favorite singers and favorite song. This is the free activity, the post listening. So as you can see in the objective, you have here the context that you are going to write the topic. In while, you write the third activity, that is the final in the during, so that the free activity, what are they going to do later after that song? Okay, I know it's quite different. Here we have a question. Erika, so Miss, the main activity will be in the practice stage. Yes, basically the main activity is going to be in the practice. Remember that in the during is the most important stage, and there you are going to plan 3 activities that goes from easy to difficult. Okay, and also here in the objective, as you can see, you can see that here you are putting the context. You're going to third activity. You're putting here the third activity, that is the final, that is the most important activity. And here in so that you are going to write the free activity, the post, that is the production, right? So thank you, Erika, for asking those questions. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and I can answer it to you, right? Okay, so let's go to the assignment that you have. So yes, we're going to plan a teaching listening lesson. Please, it's going to be 30-minute lesson plan. So in the lesson plan, please count the minutes, and you have to have 30 minutes. We're going to use PDP format. Here you're going to choose the topic, it's free, and also the level of the students is free too. So you're going to decide, right? And in the platform, you have here a section that says lesson plan format PDP. So you click on it, and then you will have this. In this link, you will find the template for your listening lesson plan. So you click there in the green button, and there you can have it, right? Here you have also the objective of the lesson. So here you're just going to fill the information. The students will be able to show understanding, and then you write it, well, and then you write it, so that they, and then you write it. Please fill everything that is in here, right, in the lesson plan. Okay, so I don't know if you have any questions. I'm going to give you some minutes if you want to ask them, or if you want to unmute your microphone, you can do it. Okay,